like these at train stations, airports, and on the roads. Now, despite this, experts say at this point there is no evidence that the new strain causes more severe illness. Also not clear is whether that strain is already here in America. But tonight there are growing calls to ban all flights from the UK to the United States. And now this is all happening as the U.S. today becomes the first country to employ 2 vaccines to prevent COVID. Moderna rolling out several million doses of its vaccine. We'll have more on who the CDC thinks should get the vaccines next. As we saw President-elect Joe Biden roll up his sleeve today to receive the first of 2 shots of the Pfizer vaccine. Also tonight, after months of gridlock, Congress is finally ready to approve a new COVID relief package. Could Americans start getting their relief checks next week? Well, there's a lot of new reporting tonight for you and your family. Our team is following every angle. Wow. CBS's Imtiaz Tayeb leads off our coverage tonight from London. Good evening, Imtiaz.
Nora, good evening. Well, this super infectious strain of the coronavirus, which has essentially shut Great Britain down far faster than anyone anticipated, has caused grave concern around the world. If the goal was to contain the rapid spread of the new strain of coronavirus, then these travelers, crammed into one of London's train stations, desperate to get out of the city, wasn't helping. Britain has now ground to a halt just 2 days after it was revealed the variant of COVID-19 was spreading like wildfire. Hundreds of trucks at the busy Dover port now sit idle after France tightened its borders, raising real concerns over food shortages. The panic is now spreading across the globe, with more than 40 nations suspending flights from Britain, although not the U.S. So far, Americans can still travel from the UK to the United States without government restrictions. But with infections from the new strain of COVID-19 still shooting through the roof and huge chunks of England's southeast now under strict lockdown, it's an uphill battle. The new strain was first detected in September. It now accounts for nearly 2/3 of all new transmissions across the UK. Infectious disease experts say that's because it contains mutations, which make it up to 70% more infectious than other strains.
Although it's causing greater pressure in the community as a whole, we haven't got any evidence to suggest that it's making the individual sicker.
The World Health Organization insists the coronavirus is mutating at a much slower rate than seasonal influenza. But this latest crisis is like no other, and it's now up to the British government to find a way out of it. Imtiaz Tayeb, CBS News, London.
I'm Molenengi in Newark, New Jersey, where flights continue to arrive from London, leaving New York Governor Andrew Cuomo sounding the alarm.
This is another disaster waiting to happen. Why are we doing nothing?
We are in a particularly bad spot right now with
Johns Hopkins epidemiologist Dr. Caitlin Rivers says it's too early to tell the impact of the new strain.
Right now, there's no evidence that this new variant will make our vaccine less effective or that it will make tests less effective. This is one thing that scientists will be keeping an extra careful look on, though, to see whether any adjustments need to be made.
Tonight, despite warnings by the CDC urging Americans to avoid travel, the nation's airports are now more crowded than any time since the pandemic began. The TSA screening more than 3 million passengers the past 3 days.
We're going to Orlando. We're going to spend Christmas in Disneyland. How fun is that?
Reality hit on this recent United Airlines flight from Orlando to Los Angeles. Video obtained by TMZ shows passengers performing CPR on a man who reportedly tested positive. The man later died. This was the scene today in Oregon as demonstrators tried to force their way into the state capitol as lawmakers met to discuss the pandemic. In California, where tonight hospitalizations have again hit an all-time high, you can hear the despair in this doctor's voice.
If you walk through my hospital, you would not feel like you're in the United States.
Amid so much misery, this is 65-year-old Philip Draper, released this weekend from a Kentucky hospital after 21 days on maximum oxygen support. The human touch, so rare in this pandemic, on full display. And then, the most welcome words of all.
Let's get you home.
Well, by the looks of it, holiday travel does not appear to be slowing down, but New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says both British Airways and Delta Airlines have agreed to begin testing passengers flying from London to New York. This as concerns only grow over this new strain, a strain that health experts tell us does not appear to be more dangerous, but is definitely more contagious, Nora.
All right, Molenengi, thank you. Tonight, millions of doses of the Moderna vaccine are arriving at thousands of sites around the country. And we're getting new details about who will be among the next 50 million Americans to be given priority for vaccinations. CBS's Errol Barnett reports tonight from hard-hit Tennessee.
Tonight, the country's second COVID-19 vaccine is arriving at hospitals nationwide. At this VA facility in Boston, it was a dose of hope for military veteran Patricia Thomas.
It's a little scary, but I'm glad to get it over with.
Moderna's nearly 6 million doses follows Pfizer's almost 3 million distributed in the past week, both of them initial rounds.
This first wave of Moderna shipments will be sent to more than 3,500 sites, a greater number than the Pfizer vaccine was sent to.
Also, the Centers for Disease Control is now recommending who's next in line for the vaccine. Frontline essential workers like first responders and teachers, as well as people 75 and older. Already, 500,000 Americans have received the Pfizer vaccine. This afternoon, President-elect Joe Biden was vaccinated near his Wilmington, Delaware home on live television.
I'm doing this to demonstrate that people should be prepared when it's available to take the vaccine.
Vaccine reinforcements cannot come soon enough for states like Tennessee, where the infection rate is now among the highest in the country. Now, the governor here insists vaccines will help end the war against this virus. Also tonight, word from the National Institutes of Health that Dr. Anthony Fauci, HHS Secretary Alex Azar, and others will receive the Moderna vaccine on camera Tuesday morning. Nora, the hope is that will help boost confidence these vaccines are safe.
All right, Errol Barnett, thank you. Tonight, Congress is ready to pass a $900 billion COVID relief bill. Final work on the bill is going on right now, and it includes help for small businesses and another round of direct payments. But it's already drawing fire as too little too late for many struggling Americans. CBS's Nancy Cordes joins us from the Capitol. And Nancy, a lot of people want to know, when will those checks be in the mail?
Nora, the answer, according to the Treasury Secretary, is that some of those checks are going to start going out next week, assuming that everything goes as planned tonight, with the House and Senate racing to pass a 5,000-page bill that almost no one has read.
The $900 billion deal is finally done, 4 days before Christmas.
The American people have waited long enough.
The cornerstone is another round of stimulus checks, $600 for Americans making less than $75,000 a year, plus $600 more for each of their children. The checks are half as large as the last direct payments 8 months ago.
That's the least they could have done, other than doing nothing.
Chrissy Gatos lost her job as a stagehand just after giving birth. $600 covers half of 1 month's rent in Newcastle, Delaware.
It's embarrassing, I would think, for a country that routinely calls itself the greatest, most wealthy country in the world, that it's taking us 9 months to come up with $600. $600 is the amount of money that rich people think poor people think is a lot of money.
The bill does include $300 a week in federal unemployment benefits, but only for the next 2.5 months. $45 billion for struggling transit systems, and $13 billion to bolster food stamps and child nutrition programs. But a $120 billion fund to help restaurants was a casualty of the compromise. Chef Sean Kelly in Granger, Indiana, is now filing for bankruptcy.
I took every bit of money that I had and dumped it back in here to keep it alive, and I can't. I have no more money.
Tonight, Democrats are describing this bill as a down payment. They wanted one 3 times as large, and they're hoping for another package in the new year. But Nora, this bill took 9 months to come together, so swift action in the new year seems unlikely.
Nancy Cordes on Capitol Hill. Thank you, Nancy. Well, tonight, Attorney General William Barr is disputing President Trump's false claims of election fraud and denying the need for a special counsel to investigate President-elect Biden's son, Hunter. We get more now from CBS's Major Garrett.
Sequestered in the White House.